Hi, I'm Jarrad Brown, Australian expat financial planner based here in Singapore. Thank you very much for tuning into my video series. Today, we're going to have a look at the popular documentary, The Tinder Swindler. It's taken the Netflix world by storm. It's been one of the highest rated all over the world. So what has this man, Shimon, done? How has he used his scams to prey on innocent women all over the world, many of whom are still left paying for his actions? This is a story of when swiping right can go horribly wrong. I'll assume that's correct. I've never spent any time on Tinder, but bear with me. Not here to talk about how to use Tinder. We're here to talk about some of the top tips when it comes to managing your money. So let's dive right in. My first tip is that a loan in your name means that you are responsible. We see in the documentary series many times, and I'm sure it's happened many more than the authorities are actually aware of, and that is that he tricks these women into taking out loans, taking out credit cards in their own name. Now, he promises them the world, he promises that he's going to repay them, he's going to transfer the money, it's already been transferred, the check's in the mail, that usual sort of nonsense. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the bank, when it comes to the lender, the women are responsible. A loan in your name is your responsibility. You are legally held liable for that full amount. Now, if we take that a step further, that also means if you're in a relationship with somebody and you take out the loan in one party's name and not the other, not a joint loan, again, that means that you are wholly and solely responsible for that repayment. Taking that a step further, if you take out a loan with your brother, sister, mother, father to do something, and we see this as a fairly common one, siblings looking to buy a property together, for example, in Australia, can't quite afford it individually, so they decide what a great idea it would be to do it on a joint basis. That also means that even if the loan is in joint names, that both is actually responsible individually for the entire amount. So do your homework, understand what you're getting yourself into, and avoid some of these nasty traps. My second tip for you from this Netflix documentary is to be very aware that too many credit checks can actually have a negative impact on your credit score. So in the documentary, we see the women taking out credit cards, personal loans, overdraft facilities, all sorts of ways to access their money, or the bank's money in many circumstances. And if this is constantly done through different institutions, every time these facilities are provided, a credit check is carried out. And that is a check on your credit file to work out how creditworthy you are, how safe are you, how risky are you from the bank's perspective as a borrower. Are you actually going to repay this money? Now, if you've inquired with 15 different lenders and you come to me to borrow some of my money, I'm going to have a look at that and think that's a major red flag. Why is this person shopping all over town for all this money? This is a big risk. So just be very aware of the impact this can have on your credit score. Now, my third tip for you is to never gift money that you can't afford to live without. And by that, I mean live without forever, not just live without for a little while until it gets repaid. In the documentary Tinder Swindler, we see one of the women that Shimon befriends loans him some money, thinking she's just helping out a friend in need. She needs this money back, it's been her savings, it's taken her a while to accumulate, and she fully believes, fully expects that he's going to repay it. Little does she know, he has zero intention of ever paying her back. So when it comes to gifting money, even if there is a loan agreement in place, be aware, consider, give some thought to, even if it's your significant other or your family, what would happen if this money never got repaid? Could you survive? It may not be the desirable outcome, but you certainly don't want to be putting yourself out on the street in a terrible financial position by loaning money that you can't afford to lose. My fourth tip for you when it comes to online scams, particularly romance scams, is to be very aware that somebody who is willing to steal your money to trick women into giving up their finances, giving up their savings, is certainly willing to forge documents. Many times through the documentary, we see Shimon forging payslips, forging transfers. He even ends up employing one of the women he's looking to lure into his scam, and it works. It's very easy to create any document required. We've seen it in the latest Netflix series, Inventing Anna. In fact, whole people are created, but we'll save that for another video. So just be very aware of how easy it is to create a very real looking, a very legitimate looking document, even tax returns in many circumstances. So if you're not sure, walk away. If you still want to proceed, then get some authority to speak to the institution that the individual is saying provided that document. My fifth and final tip from this Netflix documentary, The Tinder Swindler, is to be very wary of love bombing. Now, romance scams, it's very easy to sit back and watch this documentary and think, oh my goodness, how silly are these women? I would never fall for these scams. It's so obvious. Oh, poor them. No, they should have known better. They should have seen it coming. The reality is we see hundreds of billions of dollars in most countries all over the world, wherever there's an internet connection, lose their money due to these online romance scams. Love bombing is one of the most common traits and one of the most common things to be aware of, and that is a relationship that seems to be moving way too quickly. They're flying you around the world on private jets, they're saying I love you on the second date, they're buying you luxurious gifts out of the blue. It all seems like it's getting a bit too real, a bit too fast. Be very aware that con artists are not looking to waste time. They want to take advantage of the first victim and move on to the next as quickly as possible. I hope you found those tips helpful. If you haven't watched the documentary, I would certainly recommend it. It's a little bit horrifying, but certainly plenty of lessons for anyone who spends time online, for anyone using these online dating apps. Watch out for these scams, protect your money, and don't put yourself in a position that's going to take you years and years and years to actually get out of. We've seen many of the victims of the Tinder Swindler still paying these loans that were taken out. They are in some circumstances decades away from ever realizing their original financial goals. So check it out. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any questions at all, drop me a note in the comments. Feel free to reach out to me directly. Really appreciate your time. Please remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.